Hey, this is Ernest with UpFix. Before we start this, make sure to like, subscribe us on Facebook, Instagram, and on our YouTube channel. Now let's answer some questions that you guys have for us. Christina on our Instagram said, hey, my speedometer isn't working, but my odometer is. Do I have a problem with my instrument cluster? If I have to send in my cluster to UpFix, can I drive my car if the instrument cluster is removed? This is a good question. There is something called a vehicle speed sensor. Ford calls it a VSS. And basically what it does is it's a sensor, it's mounted to the transmission, tells you how fast you're going. Older vehicles, probably 2000 and older, use an analog sensor, which basically means it's an actual mechanical piece. Nowadays, electronically, most vehicles have an electronic sensor that's being fed into the instrument cluster. If your sensor is acting up or is going bad, then both the odometer and the mileage would probably stop rolling. If you only have a speedometer issue, then you can pretty much eliminate the sensor being at fault because the odometer is still rolling. So if the speedometer is the only thing that's not working, that would let us know that most likely it's only the instrument cluster at fault, or something inside the instrument cluster is acting up that's preventing the speedometer from working. Now there are some exceptions to that rule. 2000 and older, there is a Ford, I believe it's the Mustang and the F-150. So basically the gearing, the analog mileage, the gearing behind those actually fails, so we replace the gears. So if you have an older Ford that has analog mileage and basically speedometer and odometer don't work, it's the gearing behind the speedometer assembly inside the instrument cluster that needs to be rebuilt. But for the most part, that's basically how it is with newer vehicles. They have an electronic speed sensor. Do we recommend you driving your vehicle without the cluster? Short answer is no. We don't want you driving down the road with not knowing how fast you're going, if you have fuel, etc., or if there's anything that's telling you your engine's about to blow up. We don't recommend it. Can you probably do it? Sure, but you might have a fuse that might blow, a relay that over short circuit something because you have a harness going into a cluster that's not plugged into anything. Certain vehicles doesn't affect anything. You might be able to drive down the road and it doesn't do any harm. German vehicles, you might have all kinds of problems as far as fuses blowing and relays, and now you have tons of soft codes when you reinstall your cluster that you have to clear, and you may not know if it's the cluster or because you unplugged the cluster. So we highly recommend, it doesn't matter what your make and model, to make sure not to drive your vehicle. Send us your unit when you can afford the most downtime. So if you have a weekend or something, or you don't have to use it critically, send us the cluster. We'll rebuild it and send it to you as fast as we can once we were done with it. But it's definitely not a good idea to drive your vehicle without an instrument cluster. So make sure you follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and our Facebook. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave more comments in the description down below. Let us know if you guys want to see anything else. Any kind of questions you guys have, let us know, and we'll see you next time.